Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming. And the rugged red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Many of you may not know this, but there is actually a difference between Memorial Day and Veterans Day. All veterans who have served are commemorated on Veterans Day, but those who have died for our country are especially recognized on Memorial Day. Before November 11th was known as Veterans Day, it was called Armistice Day. On the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month, an official armistice was declared by the Allied nations in Germany, thereby ending World War I. The following year, President Wilson declared that each November 11th the country would pay tribute to all veterans who have fought and died for our country. After World War II, however, veterans urged Congress to change the word armistice to veterans so that all veterans, regardless of what war or conflict they were involved in, would be recognized. In 1954, President Dwight D. Eisenhower signed a bill establishing November 11th as Veterans Day, and it has been celebrated every year since. A yearly Veterans Day national ceremony is held at the Arlington National Cemetery in Washington, D.C. At 11 a.m., a color guard made up of members from each service march in front of the tomb of the unknown soldier in the Memorial Amphitheater. The tomb, also known as the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier, commemorates soldiers who have fought in war and have gone missing or could not be identified. The remains of an unidentified soldier who died in World War I are actually interred there. One of the most poignant moments in the ceremony is when a bugler plays taps as the president places a wreath on the tomb. Since 1937, specially hand-picked soldiers from the Army's 3rd Infantry Unit have been chosen to guard the tomb every second of every day, even during the wrath of Hurricane Sandy. On this Veterans Day, we hope you reflect back upon the sacrifices our veterans have made on our behalf. And we hope you enjoy this small tribute to all soldiers, past, present, and the future soldiers who will serve.
I'm joining the military through ROTC because I think it's an honorable thing to do personally. When I look up at men and women that are serving, it's a big deal. It's kind of, I feel very proud, and it's something that I've always wanted to do since I was a little kid, and it helps. I can achieve it through this program. Well, I'm aiming to get a scholarship to pay for my 4 years of college, which is one of the many things that the military can provide to me, along with doing engineering, which is really what I want to accomplish, and eventually being an engineer and being a military officer in the Marine Corps. Yes and no. Obviously, universal answer, yes, it is a war zone, and there is a chance of death, obviously, but it's also something that I very much like, is being put into pressure and acting quickly and rationally and being able to be in charge of other people, which is what I'll have to do as a Marine Corps officer. They were actually pretty cool about it. I mean, my mom and dad have always known that I was an independent person and that basically what I'm going to do with my life is my choice. And with this, they think it's a great thing, because when you see, I don't know about other people, but I have friends in the military, you see a change in them once they go to boot camp and when they return. It's something that you become more of an adult and more of an experienced, wiser person. So they like that about it. I think I'm very proud to do it. If I get into the program and I become a Marine Corps officer, it means a great deal to me, because you are risking your life for a country that you do love, because nobody joins the military unless they love their country so much. And personally, the country has given so much to me because my parents are immigrants, and it is something that I strive to protect. It's a day to honor both those lost, those served, and the families of those who are serving, because it takes a great toll on someone who has fought in the war and those supporting people that have fought in the war. And it's a day to remember and honor those people who have given so much for their country.
After a series of taxing port visits, the Sun Kings of VAW 116 were back at sea with nothing to do. Lucky for us, the cameras were rolling.
Hey man, how about this song for the music video? Whoa, 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 that's not gonna work at all, man. What's wrong with that?
Nah, man, the skipper's never gonna go for that, man. That's way, way too late.
Alright, how about this one? Hold on. Something just didn't sound right with that. I don't know what it is. Yeah, I know what you mean. How about this?
Just confess your girl admits that we the shit. F-R-E-S-H, we fresh. G-E-F, that's right, we Deborah. We definite. B-E-P, we reppin' it. So, turn me up. Turn me up. Turn me up. Come on, baby, just pump it. Pump it. Pump it. Pump it. Pump it. Pump it. And side. Side. Yo, yo. Turn up the radio. Blast your stereo right now. This joint is sizzling. It's sizzling right. You check this out right here. Do wanna hate on us. Do need to ease on up. Do wanna act on gut, but do get shut like Flavor Chuck. Chick say she ain't down, but chick backstage when we in town. She like men on drum. She wanna hit and run. Yeah, that's the speed, that's what we do, that's who we be. B-L-A-C-K-E-Y-A-D-D to the E, then the A to the S. When we play, you shake your ass. Shake it, shake it, shake it, girl. Make sure you don't break it, girl. 'Cause we gonna turn it up, turn it up, turn it up. Come on, baby, just pump it, pump it, pump it, pump it, pump it, pump it, and say, turn up the radio, blast your stereo right now. This joint is sizzling, it's sizzling right. In the scene, breaking on down for the b-boys and b-girls, we're in it, do they thing. Pump it, louder, come on, don't stop, and keep it going, do it. Let's get it on, move it. Come on, baby, do it. Blow my mind, baby. Let it go, here we go. Come on, yeah.
Well, Joe and I have known each other for 15 years. We met in high school about 15 years ago. We were freshmen in high school. We knew who each other was, but we didn't really know each other personally. I had come from another school, and you had been in Waterbury schools, you know, since elementary school. So he knew everybody, and I was kind of like the new girl in school.
Right. She was the outsider.
A little bit. A little bit, definitely a little bit.
Yeah,
but I didn't think too highly of him either. I thought he was a little bit weird.
What made him weird?
Who would have thought we would have ended up together? But I don't know. He was just different from the other guys. He kind of was a little bit more put together. He wore a belt, tucked his shirt in. He was always like a gentleman. And guys, you know, in high school are just guys, a little, you know, laid back, casual, joke around, not too serious about anything. And he always had like a really serious mentality that was just stood out to me, I guess. Maybe not weird, but.
All right, so that's his freshman.
Right, freshman year, yep.
So how does it progress from there, from going from thinking he's weird to dating? I don't know.
How does that happen?
It's actually funny because she liked my best friend back in high school. They went to Italy together on a school trip, and when they came back, he was like, what about Jen? I was like, dude, she's a wacko.
She's weird.
Don't go for it, dude. So I talked him out of it, and now, look at me now.
We had study hall together. We had a lot of the same classes together, so slowly we became friends. I think most of the trouble started in study hall. We had study hall together, and just got to know each other.
As friends, and then progressed into something more serious.
Absolutely, yeah. I'd say toward the end of our senior year, we knew that there was something there that, you know, you just don't, doesn't happen every day. There was a level of friendship that was deeper than, you know, any other friend that I had ever had, and I knew that was like, hey, this is something that I could be interested in. He actually risked missing the bus one day and came down to the lobby of the school where I was getting picked up by my parents to tell me that he had very deep feelings for me, which to this day is like one of those moments in my, you know, story of my life that I'll just never forget. And so from then on, I was like, actually, I could be open to this. And from there, it just turned into an amazing summer, the best summer I think I've ever had in my life, just being together.
And then it's college afterwards, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What did we do for college?
We both went to UConn Waterbury. We had some chemistry classes together, some math classes together.
Yeah.
So we're still around each other at that time.
Mm-hmm.
At that point, I realized college wasn't the goal I was looking for. I wanted something more, physically challenging. So at that point, I decided to join the Marines. So I went, met with the recruiters, and got my paperwork processed, and told my parents, did what I had to do.
That's his style.
And,
one and done. He walks in, walks out.
Joining the Marines, especially.
My dad was it was hard for him. I'm the only son. I'm the last male in my whole family, so I'm the last of the generation. If I don't have a boy, that's it. My family name dies. So, his father was in the Army, and my mother's father was in the Marines. I have random uncles and cousins that were also in those services. So, you hear the stories when people come back, things aren't always the same. So, my father probably didn't talk to me for a good 3 months. Very brief. But when I finally came home from boot camp after graduating, it was a different, he saw the light. He saw that I liked what I was doing. So at that point, I feel that I gained a little bit more respect from him.
Yeah.
So you made the decision based on what you thought was right for yourself, right?
Yes.
But you're dating Jen at the same time. Did you guys have a conversation before you signed those papers?
No.
Was it?
I tend to do things one way.
That's what I meant before, yeah.
Because when I knew I was going to service, you never know what happens. I mean, I was committed to her, she was committed to me, but if something happens, I got to do what I got to do that's right for me at that point in time. We were young. I was 18, 19 years old. I wasn't ready to settle down. I hear a lot of horror stories. People join the services and they're married in the beginning, and it doesn't last. So once I joined, I refused to get married until my contract was up.
I think we were just there, to support each other, to kind of get through those years of our life where you're trying to figure yourself out and you don't know what you're going to end up doing, and this is a great thing, but in the end, who knows what's gonna last and what doesn't last. So I think we were just there for each other, to support each other in our dreams, what we wanted to do. I always knew I wanted to be an Italian teacher, and I went in knowing the kind of person that he was, and that he was interested in the military. He took the test in high school, the ASVAB, right?
Yeah.
So I knew that was a goal of his, and I would never want to keep him from doing something that made him so fulfilled. That's been my perspective throughout our whole relationship, the whole past 15 years. So.
Did it?
What I really wanted to do was I wanted to be in the infantry. That's what I want to do. I want to be hooking, jabbing, getting down and dirty. So that's the decision I made. Yeah, so back in 2006, I made one deployment to Fallujah, Iraq. We were there for 7 months. We were doing a lot of missions, mounted patrols. We were on foot, a lot of raids. So, I got lucky. A lot of people view it differently. So once you join the service, for me, you want that mission. You want to say, hey, I was able to do that. If there's no war going on, nothing like that, you don't get that opportunity. There's people that have been in the service for 20 years and didn't get to do some of the things that I've done. I only got 6 years in.
Mm-hmm.
So I was very happy with my time in service. I got to do a lot of things, meet a lot of people, go to a couple countries. It is what it is.
First of all, going back to the war, we knew it was coming, right? That you get some, drifts, that rumors that, they're going to get activated, And I remember exactly where I was when we got the call. I'm in the car, and this was before cell phone laws. Answer the phone, and he says, the Marines called, we're going. And my heart dropped, my stomach dropped. I said, I'm not ready for this. I'm not ready for this. I'm not ready for this. And we had been prepped. There were rumors. There was talk. We knew it was going to happen. But it's one of those things that no matter how much preparation, it's never going to be enough for the shock of that kind of a news. That the person that you love most in this world, that you feel most connected to more than anybody in your life, is now in the hands of the war machine, of Fallujah, Iraq, of terrorists and mortar attacks and things that you cannot control. It's the absolute scariest, overwhelming feeling that I think anybody could experience. The news reports felt so distant to me. They felt like they weren't real because I didn't know about them. A lot was happening in Baghdad, and there was a lot of other things going on. So for me, that didn't feel in touch. So I saw the reports and I knew it was happening, but it didn't feel real. That part of it just didn't feel real. It could have been a story, it could have been another country, it could have been anything else. What felt so real was his letters and reading, hey, how are you? I heard you got a new job. How are you settling in with the new job? By the way, this morning we had 3 mortar attacks, and I had to go back out on foot patrol 3 times because they kept calling us because there was supposed to be another attack. And the letters are crazy. If you want to talk about a balance, he's trying to balance like caring for me and making sure that I'm okay, and telling me about the robot machine that he was using this morning broke down, and he physically had to go out and walk to it and retrieve it because the battery had died, you know. And I remember saying to him, in the future, I pray that we never forget this feeling, that we never forget what it's like to not know. I remember women at school, I was doing my undergrad work for teaching at that time, and I'm sitting in class, class is beginning, and 3 women are outside talking about, complaining about how their husbands are going to be coming home late tonight, and it's every night, 7, 8 o'clock, this, that, and the other. And I remember thinking, well, he's coming home tonight. And I never said anything, and I think most military wives don't. But you don't know what you have, that he's coming home tonight. I'll never think that he's coming home tonight, you know? I don't know when I'm going to see him again or if I'm going to see him again. And all the dreams and the hopes that I have for us might never come true.
I used to call home and lie all the time to my mother.
God. He's like, don't worry about me. Don't worry about me. I'm fine. You know?
Everything's fine.
The
Everything's
attacks are
safe.
calming down. Don't worry. Yeah. And then this kid, I grab it, this headline news shows up in Hartford Courant.
I would talk to my mom on the phone once in a while.
This picture that we've since framed, yeah.
And it was always loud bangs. I was like, I know, Mom. People just slamming the doors in the buildings. Yeah. Meantime, we were getting shelled. And I was, hey, Ma, I got to go. So at that time, the Hartford Courant, they sent some reporters out here with us. And then several days later, I ended up on the front page next to a blown-out vehicle.
We're like, Joseph, God, wait a minute.
So at that point, the bubble kind of popped.
For you back then?
Yeah, see, for us when we were coming home, I mean, everybody was excited. But the problem is you got to stay focused on the mission. We lost one guy 2 days before we were leaving.
That was so scary, yeah.
He was a great guy. He planned his wedding and everything over there. All right, so, you know, he had like 45 minutes on post. He was changing his gear out with the Marines that were taking over our spots so we could go home. Yeah. And then, you know, SVBID, so suicide-borne, vehicle-borne IED went off and killed him, and several others were severely wounded.
A couple weeks later, right? At least a couple of weeks. I can't really remember.
At least a couple of weeks, close to a month.
You flew into Mass. And it was like the, I don't know, Secret Service. Everybody on their phones. Okay, they're at exit 52. Okay, they're leaving here now. They just stopped over here. They're at this overpass. We were getting the updates while we were waiting at the Armory in Hartford for the buses to drive them down.
The bus ride back from Mass to the Hartford Armory was like one of the Super Bowls.
It was
I mean, we had police escorts. We must have had like 300 motorcycles that were leading us. Yeah. And it was November. It was cold. They were on their bikes.
Yeah, they
led the way. And when we pulled in the city of Hartford,
the fire trucks,
all the fire trucks with their ambulances, cop cars, they all had their lights on.
In the route, all around, with support. I mean, beeping the horns and the screaming inside the Armory when you guys finally got off that bus. Boots hit the ground.
Yeah, we marched in.
And they marched in. It was surreal. It was just surreal because I didn't expect that kind of pride for them to have. When I knew we'd be excited, but for them to walk in like this, like we did it, we are home, we did it for you, we did it for our families, we did our jobs, and we made it home safe. I mean, to hear the boots coming in the ground and then they snap, you know, to attention and whatever. Jody Rell, the governor at the time, spoke, and they said at ease or something like that, right? And that was it. It was a mad rush from the stands to our Marines. They were trying to find them, and they all looked the same. How many? There was like must have been 1,000 in the whole unit, right?
It was up there.
Yeah, and I'm like, where is he? I'm like, I make it all the way to the end of the gym, and I hadn't seen him. I found Giesler, one of his buddies. I was like, where is he? Where is Joe? He's like, oh, no. And like, turn around, and I had to start looking the other way.
For me, it was a little bit different because some of, like the gentleman Giesler she mentioned, he was wounded, so they sent him home. So
he was
a
there
lot of
for
our
support,
brothers who
yeah.
had got injured were there waiting for us.
Yeah.
So a lot of us went and checked out with them, see how they're feeling before we went to go see our families. Because I mean, I spent a lot of time with Giesler. He was hit twice with a hand grenade, 2 separate incidents. The first
so it feels
time,
like to be reunited.
Yeah, the first time wasn't bad enough to send him home, so he stayed. And then several weeks later, he got hit again with a hand grenade. That one sent him home. So to see him there and some of our other brothers, you know, for me that was nice.
But we found each other. I found him. I don't remember how I found him, but I found him, and he picked me up and lifted me up, and it was like a movie. All the sound in the place, and it was roaring, disappeared, and I just didn't want to let go. I did not want to let go. And he was all mine, and I don't know where his mom was, or his dad, or his grandpa, because everybody was there, and it was just me and him in that moment that is going to live forever in my memory. It was beautiful. It was absolutely beautiful.
Okay. The other one is coming. He got some angle on respiration.
Blood's en route, I assume?
Blood's here.
Okay.
The last name is Hines.
Is the blood going yet, or are we still?
Okay.
If
you're ready, I'm gonna hook it up.
Is this basically massive bilateral femoral fractures? Came in, had to do CPR. Okay, let's slam that blood in.
How many? You want all 4? Do you want more?
All 4.
Roger.
Let's go ahead and start a dopamine drip at 10 mics a minute, but we got to keep that blood going. That's a priority.
It's going.
What is holding us from going to the OR at this point in time?
Nothing.
1, 2, 3. Yeah. Very nice. And down.
Down.
Okay. Wait a minute. Is EMT, we're en route.
We just got out of the operating room with our patient. He sustained a right above the knee amputation, pretty high. He had a lot of blood loss, both before the injury and after in the operating room. If he does make it through the next 24 hours, which we don't know right now, we'll be using a critical care air transport team to take him up to Germany.
Hey, Timothy. Can you hear me, buddy? Lieutenant Randolph wanted me to tell you he's thinking about you, okay? And we talked to your wife. She says to tell you she loves you. Yeah, get home and see that little girl of yours, right? Caitlin, okay? You just wonder what's going to happen in his life. Man, in a split second, things change. Yeah, his life will never be what it was 2 days ago. And hopefully you find meaning in it.
Based on his vital signs, he's the most stable he's been for the entire time he's been with us. So we have that window for him to go now, and I think in the next hour or so we're probably going to try to get him air back to Balad and then on to Landstuhl, Germany. Basically, we've built an intensive care unit right around the patient for transport.
Go ahead and roll with Hines.
It's a good copy, sir. We'll be down in a minute.
Are we just going to keep him assisted all the way down?
I'm going to paralyze him for flight. Not a problem.
C-141 cargo aircraft. It can hold 40 liters as it's set up right now. This is what it's like every night here at Balad Air Base. There's a scheduled medevac that comes in every night.
All right, so here comes Private Hines, and he's a little heavier than the last patients due to some of the equipment as well. How many patients have we evacuated out since the war started? I think it's like 25,000 patients.
Net total has been, I don't think I should release that. Not with that clearance. I can't.
Okay.
That's a sensitive subject, and I can't do that. So, yeah, it has been a considerable amount of personnel have been evacuated from this theater, and that's we'll leave it at that.
Right up here off to the left is the launch stool, and that's where the medical center's at, where all the wounded are going to today.
Ready. You know, of course, we all want the war to be over. We don't want to be here. We want the Iraqis to have the freedom that they want so we can all go home, but that's I mean, it's not going to happen for a while. So you try not to let seeing these guys get to you. Someday it's going to end.
Right on the ground.
He was as critical as they get back in Baghdad. He's been fine en route. He got 5 liters of fluids and 2 units of packed red blood cells, pressures 110s, 1-teens over 50s, heart rate of around 1-teens. Nice. Nice job.
He's 21. He's got 1 child, and his wife is soon expecting number 2. But while it is difficult to tell them that their loved ones are injured, and that's not a fun part of the job, it is nice to be able to tell them that they're here, that they're being taken care of, that they're alive, and that they're coming home. Can I get a little emotional about that? Oh, I have kids that are older than this, and I have kids that are younger than this, so there's a personal piece here. And I imagine my own kids under these circumstances, and it's something you have to deal with.
I'm sorry, is his wife coming?
No.
And you already spoke to the wife?
I spoke to the wife. I didn't even suggest an ITO on her. She's 33 weeks pregnant.
Right.
It'll be a witch of a trip for her, and he's going to be out here Friday or Sunday, and I did tell her that. If she particularly wants to come, she can, but she's 33 weeks pregnant. It's
because she already got a letter from her doctor saying that she can fly.
Yeah. Well, it's now 24 hours later. Mr. Hines has been here for a full day. He's now in the operating room on the operating room table. Give me a wide Penrose, a wide long Penrose, because we may stick it through here.
Okay.
Photographer. All right, okay. Cheers. This is his wife and his sister. Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. Tim, open your eyes for your wife real quick. She wants to see your beautiful eyes. Tim, just once for her. She needs it.
He's now beginning to respond in a more normal fashion, and they will now reload him and get him ready for transport back to the States.
What's up? Yeah, let me just turn it on. Hey, Tony, can I finish this up?
Oh, the family's in the room right now. They're saying a last prayer for the flight before he leaves, and just getting, getting ready for the flight.
That's a horrendous injury.
It's going to be about a 10-hour flight, and we'll have about 4-hour ground time on this end and probably about a 2-hour ground time on the other side. So it's going to be a long day.
Watch your back, man.
Have a safe flight. Good luck to you. Good luck to you, man.
I need to take that suction off. Okay.
Tim is the absolute love of my life. For anyone who knew Tim, he was always full of life and love. His final words to me were, "Help me." And I said, "Help you what, sweetheart?" I said, "Do you need me to stay?" And he nodded yes. So I promised I would stay until he fell asleep. There's a price for freedom, and Tim's paid the ultimate price. He's free from pain and misery, no more surgeries or tubes or medicines. And as hard as it is to accept, he's in the loving arms of God. And I cannot wait until the day that I can be right beside him again.